Your company has a stateless web application running on EC2 instances behind an application load balancer, ALB. The application must scale automatically based on traffic while optimizing costs. Options: A. Use EC2 auto-scaling with on-demand instances. B. Use EC2 auto-scaling with a combination of on-demand and spot instances. C. Use Lambda to replace the EC2 instances and remove the ALB. D. Use EC2 reserved instances with manual scaling. Correct answer: B. Use EC2 auto-scaling with a combination of on-demand and spot instances. Explanation: combining on-demand for baseline capacity and spot instances for additional capacity ensures cost optimization while maintaining availability. Why not other options? Option A. Using only on-demand instances is costlier. Option C. Lambda is not a direct replacement for EC2 in a stateless application requiring constant uptime. Option D. Reserved instances lack flexibility for dynamic scaling. A financial organization needs to detect fraudulent transactions in real time. The system must ingest large volumes of transactional data and perform analytics with low latency. Options: A. Use Kinesis data streams with Lambda for analytics. B. Use SQS with a fleet of EC2 instances for data ingestion and processing. C. Use DynamoDB streams with Lambda for analytics. D. Use EMR with S3 for batch analytics. Correct answer: A. Use Kinesis data streams with Lambda for analytics. Explanation: Kinesis data streams is designed for real-time ingestion and analytics of large volumes of data. Lambda processes the stream data with low latency. Why not other options? Option B. SQS is not optimized for real-time data streaming. Option C. DynamoDB streams is not suitable for large-scale analytics. Option D. EMR with S3 is better for batch analytics, not real-time analytics. Your organization operates in a hybrid cloud setup and requires secure and low-latency connectivity between on-premises data centers and AWS. Options: A. Use AWS Direct Connect for a dedicated connection. B. Use site-to-site VPN over the Internet. C. Use CloudFront for low-latency connectivity. D. Use S3 transfer acceleration for secure data transfer. Correct answer: A. Use AWS Direct Connect for a dedicated connection. Explanation: Direct Connect provides a dedicated, private network connection with lower latency and higher security compared to Internet-based solutions. Why not other options? Option B. Site-to-site VPN relies on the Internet, resulting in higher latency and less reliability. Option C. CloudFront is for content delivery, not network connectivity. Option D. S3 transfer acceleration is specific to S3 uploads/downloads and does not support GEMO connectivity. You run a serverless application using AWS Lambda. The functions frequently hit the 15-minute execution time limit due to complex processing. You need to optimize the architecture to reduce costs and ensure timely execution. 2. Options: A. Use step functions to break down the processing into smaller tasks. B. Increase the memory allocated to Lambda functions. C. Switch to Fargate to handle long-running processes. D. Use EC2 instances with auto-scaling to replace Lambda. Correct answer: A. Use step functions to break down the processing into smaller tasks. Explanation: Step functions orchestrate Lambda functions into smaller, manageable tasks, ensuring efficient execution and cost optimization. Why not other options? Option B. Increasing memory may not solve the problem of exceeding the time limit. Option C. Fargate is more costly and adds operational complexity. Option D. EC2 instances are less cost-effective for a serverless application. Your e-commerce application is hosted in the East 1 region and needs to be made resilient to regional failures. The solution should minimize data loss and recovery time while being cost-effective. Options: A. Use Route 53 for DNS failover and replicate data across S3 buckets in multiple regions. B. Use CloudFront with an origin failover setup between East 1 and West 2. C. Use RDS with a cross-region read replica and set up auto-scaling groups in both regions. D. Use Global Accelerator for failover and replicate EC2 instances across multiple regions manually. Correct answer, C. Use RDS with a cross-region read replica and set up auto-scaling groups in both regions. Explanation: cross-region RDS read replicas ensure the database is synchronized and available in another region. Auto-scaling groups allow the application to scale dynamically during a failover. Why not other options? Option A. S3 is not suitable for transactional data like databases. Option B. CloudFront origin failover is limited to caching, not suitable for active databases or application failover. Option D. Global Accelerator doesn't handle application state synchronization across regions. You need to build a data pipeline that ingests data from IoT devices, processes it in real time, and stores it in a NoSQL database. The solution should be highly scalable and cost-effective. Options: A. Use Kinesis data streams for ingestion, Lambda for processing, and DynamoDB for storage. B. Use SQS for ingestion, EMR for processing, and RDS for storage. C. Use IoT Core for ingestion, Glue for processing, and S3 for storage. D. Use API Gateway for ingestion, EC2 for processing, and Aurora for storage. Correct answer: A. Use Kinesis data streams for ingestion, Lambda for processing, and DynamoDB for storage. Explanation: Kinesis data streams is ideal for real-time data ingestion from IoT devices. Lambda processes the data on the fly, and DynamoDB provides a scalable, NoSQL storage solution. Why not other options? Option B. SQS is not optimized for real-time streaming, and EMR is overkill for simple data processing. Option C. Glue is better for batch processing, not real-time. Option D. EC2 is less cost-effective than Lambda for a serverless architecture. Your company stores 50 terabytes of historical data, which is rarely accessed but must be retained for compliance purposes. The solution should minimize costs. Options: A. Use S3 standard for storage and enable lifecycle policies to move data to Glacier. B. Use S3 Glacier Deep Archive and enable lifecycle policies. C. Use EBS snapshots and store them in S3. D. Use S3 intelligent tiering with automatic cost optimization. Correct answer: B. Use S3 Glacier Deep Archive and enable lifecycle policies. Explanation: S3 Glacier Deep Archive is the most cost-effective option for long-term, rarely accessed data. Lifecycle policies automate the transition of data from S3 standard to Glacier. Why not other options? Option A. S3 standard is more expensive for long-term storage. Option C. EBS snapshots are not cost-efficient for long-term archival. Option D. Intelligent tiering adds unnecessary costs for infrequently accessed data. Your organization uses multiple AWS accounts for different teams. You need to centralize access management while adhering to the principle of least privilege. Options: A. Use AWS organizations with SCPs to enforce account-level permissions. B. Use IAM roles in each account and share them across accounts. C. Use AWS IAM Identity Center, AWS SSO, for centralized access. D. Use IAM policies with a shared IAM user across accounts. Correct answer: C. Use AWS IAM Identity Center, AWS SSO, for centralized access. Explanation: AWS IAM Identity Center allows centralized, secure access management across multiple AWS accounts and integrates with identity providers. Why not other options? Option A. SCPs enforce permissions but do not manage user identities. Option B. Managing IAM roles across accounts is complex and prone to errors. Option D. Sharing an IAM user across accounts violates best practices. You are hosting a relational database for a critical application. The database must be highly available, and downtime must be minimized during maintenance. Options: A. Use RDS multi-AZ deployment. B. Use RDS with read replicas. C. Use DynamoDB with on-demand capacity. D. Use an EC2 instance with a MySQL database and EBS snapshots. Correct answer, A. Use RDS multi-AZ deployment. Explanation: RDS multi-AZ provides automated failover to a secondary instance during maintenance or outages, ensuring high availability. Why not other options? Option B. Read replicas are for scaling reads, not for high availability. Option C. DynamoDB is NoSQL, not suitable for relational database requirements. Option D. Managing a database on EC2 lacks automated failover and adds operational overhead. Your application is a social media platform experiencing unpredictable traffic spikes. You want to handle the bursts while keeping costs low. Options: A. Use auto-scaling with on-demand instances. B. Use auto-scaling with a mix of on-demand and spot instances. C. Use Lambda with API Gateway to replace EC2. D. Use EC2 reserved instances with manual scaling. Correct answer: B. Use auto-scaling with a mix of on-demand and spot instances. Explanation: a mix of on-demand, for steady traffic, and spot instances, for burst traffic, ensures cost efficiency while maintaining performance. Why not other options? Option A. On-demand instances alone are more expensive. Option C. Lambda may not handle complex or stateful applications efficiently. Option D. Reserved instances do not support dynamic scaling.